I'm sorry, there's just something awesome about sitting right there and looking up and seeing Tom singing Shake Your Booty, Boys and Girls. I don't know. There's just something awesome about that.
I say that more oftentimes than you would imagine.
I would imagine he does. Let's stand, we'll say a prayer together. Too easily we fall into that sense of cynicism and looking at all of the struggle, but let us always remember to create these journeys, to begin these journeys with this sense, this awareness, this awakeness to the beauty in the world, to the beauty within us, for the beauty that surrounds us and that somehow enfolds us and that we participate in. That no matter what the struggles that we face, we might be always holding that sense of awe and gratitude. And so we give thanks. Amen.
Let's let you sing it one more time before we come in. I need to see if you're all out there awake. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. The dawn is here. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. The dawn is here. Now take just a moment and make sure the folks around you are awake and greet them with signs of peace.
this morning is from Matthew 4:1-11, and it's in your bulletin if you want to read along. Then Jesus was led by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil. You can read along if you like. After fasting for 40 days and 40 nights, he was hungry. The tempter came to him and said, "If you are the Son of God, tell these stones to become bread." Jesus answered, "It is written, man shall not live on bread alone, but on every word that comes from the mouth of God." Then the devil took him to the holy city and had him stand on the highest point of the temple. "If you are the Son of God," he said, "throw yourself down, for it is written, he will command his angels concerning you, and they will lift you up in their hands, so that you will not strike your foot against a stone." Jesus answered to him, "It is also written, do not put the Lord your God to the test." Again, the devil took him to a very high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and their splendor. "All this I will give to you," he said, "if you will bow down and worship me." Jesus said to him, "Away from me, Satan, for it is written, worship the Lord your God and serve him only." Then the devil left him, and angels came and attended him.
The hatch is locked. Under the castle in the land of Snore, down in the dungeon where the weird are stored, all the different and the outcast sneak back home, after laughing in the bright lights all night long. I'm lucky to be down the cast aside, safe from the madness of the world we hide, with everybody free to come and go, under the radar of the status quo. Down here, we've always got each other, and it's how we know that we're sister and brother in the land below. We see you looking in now with your longing stare. We got a feeling of belonging because we're not up there. Because we're not up there. See, you wanna get close to the wild and strange. You want to stand at the edge of the river of change. You got a hungry soul and a cautious mind, so you can't quite leave your world behind. So you come for a visit, but you lose your nerve out at the edges of the bell-shaped curve. But I saw your soul when you dropped your fear. You came walking in the world of the wild down here. Down here, we've always got each other. Down here, and it's how we know down here that we're sisters and brothers in the land below. Down here, we see you looking in now with your longing stare. We've got a feeling of belonging because we're not up there. I was only 4, maybe she was 5. We were playing in the car parked in the drive, and it all started out with one mistake. That
was the lever of the parking brake. At the bottom of the hill, it cranked out hard. I missed all the bushes in the neighbor's yard. Then picking up speed, running out of time, we drove right into our lives of crime. Down here, we've always got each other, and it's how we know that we're sister and brother in the land below. Down here, we see you looking in now with your longing stare. We've got a feeling of belonging because we're not up there.
You maybe just close your eyes for a moment and take a few deep breaths. No, really, if you take a few deep breaths, it's amazing how you can notice how shallow your breathing has become sometimes when you walk into a room with other people. And just to be still for a moment and notice your breathing, to be still and to breathe more deeply can be the most amazingly simple uprising, leaning toward conscious evolution of some sort in your life. Story that we read where in something like a dream, Jesus somehow seems to be struggling with his devils. Some might say struggling and wrestling with the darker side of his nature. Isn't it like the most human thing to have to do? To have to wrestle with parts of us that we somehow seem never able to fully rid ourselves. Those things like the insecurities that make us want power. Just for the sake of some kind of control never feeds us and never makes us full. But we find ourselves here finding that moment of silence that allows us to listen a little more deeply and to drink from a well of living water that's already there between us and within us. And so listen more deeply to that source inside and to see it in the world around us, to see it and hear it in the people around us. Isn't that about awaking? But it seems for us to get there first, we have to somehow empty out this barrel full of insecurity and need that somehow would point us to the need to control and to gain domination over others. And so we have dreams of wrestling with the darker side of our nature. So, Holy One, we know that even in the darkest parts of ourselves, there's something that actually is redemptive for us. These energies that we struggle with that seem so tempting and addictive, don't they also have some positive light within them? If we could just have the consciousness to see that, maybe they wouldn't have such power over us sometimes. Open our hearts and minds that we might look with that loving eye, even upon the darkness that we seem so easily to judge within us, that we might discover the path to something more whole, that we might be open to the gift of what seems like a curse, and that we might find joy. All this we pray. Amen. So we have a special stewardship moment this morning. Get out of the way of that. This morning, Kim Gudametla comes to share a few words about our stewardship drive that's going on this year. Come share, Kim. Let me just go to that mic right there. Mm-hmm.
Okay, good morning. Good morning. I had to do this in front of the 11 o'clock service, so this feels much better up here. Well, I have the privilege to talk to you today about the 2013 Joy of Generosity, Caring for Our Community's Stewardship Campaign. Martin Luther King Jr. so eloquently said, "As long as there is poverty in the world, I can never be rich, even if I have $1 billion." He went on to say, "I can never be what I ought to be until you are what you ought to be." What's so beautiful about these words is that he actually lived them out, just as Jesus lived out his words, and he asked us to do the same. Jesus told us about the Good Samaritan who had mercy on the man that was robbed and left for dead, while others turned a blind eye. Jesus has commanded us, love your neighbor as you love yourself. This is the heart and soul of our mission. This is the reason I joined this church and the reason I want to raise my daughter in this church. I want her to know that the homeless person sitting out on the bench inside our church is no different than us. Perhaps he just lost his job and he has no one to help. I want her to know that the man I met on the homeless night count is no different than us. He was 21 years old and happened to be born with the mental illness, bipolar. His family didn't understand and they had kicked him out of the house. He had nowhere else to go, no insurance for medication. I found him lying in an alley next to a fence, laying on the hard ground. I told Sophie he's no different than us. He simply doesn't have a family support system. And I told her, for the grace of God, there go I, because I too have bipolar. However, I can tell her that our First Street mission is a beacon to hope to so many in our community. Your financial contribution to the church's stewardship campaign makes it possible for our church to cover all the overhead expenses at First Street Mission. Because of your generosity, generosity to the church's budget, all donations directly to First Street Mission go to direct services like purchasing food, infant formula, hygiene kits, financial assistance, room at the inn, and then the Being Better Together campaign program. Without your generosity to our stewardship campaign, First Street Mission would not be a beacon of hope for so many in our community. Through your generosity, through your mission, together we provide infants formula through our infant formula program for infants that might otherwise go hungry. Through your generosity, we provide a shelter, a hot meal, a clean bed for our homeless neighbors through Room at the Inn ministry. Through your generosity, we are able to provide food for adults and children who don't know where their next meal is coming from through our food bank. Through your generosity, we provide work clothes through our career closet for those trying to overcome adversity. Through your generosity, we provide not only an advocate, but a friend for families through the Being Better Together program, because we all are better together. So I stand here in front of you today to ask you to please not turn a blind eye to those that Jesus has commanded us to love, the most vulnerable amongst our society. Repeating Dr. King's words, life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? I ask, how are you helping our church feed our needy? Thank you.
One night, while lying in my bed, I had a beautiful dream that all the people of the world got together on the same wavelength, began helping one another. Now, in this dream, universal love was the theme of the day, peace and understanding, and it happened this way.
The sick and the hungry had smiles on their faces. The tired and the homeless had family all around. The streets of the cities were all beautiful places, and the walls came tumbling down. People of the world got it together. They had it together for the boys and the girls. Children of the world look forward to a future. Remember now, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, people. Time's ticking away. Remember that tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, people. Time's ticking away. I had a vision of blue skies from sea to shining sea. All the trees in the forest stood strong and tall again. Everything was clean and pretty, and safe for you and me. Best of enemies became the best of friends. People of the world got it together for the boys and the girls. The children of the world look forward to the future. Remember that tick-tock, 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 people. Time's ticking away. Remember that tick-tock, 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 people. Time's ticking away.
Time keeps on keeping on. Time keeps on keeping on. Time keeps on keeping on. Time's ticking away.
People of the world got it together, had it together. Boys and girls, children of the world, look forward to the future. Remember that tick-tock, 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 people. Time's ticking away. Remember that tick-tock, 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 people. Time's ticking away. Remember that tick-tock, 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 people. Time's ticking away. Remember that tick-tock, 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 people. Time's ticking away. Tick-tock, 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 people. Time's ticking away. Tick-tock, 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 people. Time's ticking away.
Man, it's so good to have Buddy Whittington with us, isn't it? It's so fun.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Good to be here, y'all.
Buddy is usually out touring in Europe with his own music, and I know many of you know him as the Fort Worth legend who
I don't think many of them know me as that, Charles.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe a Fort Worth leg end.
What a great gift to have him. So we've been doing a whole kind of series on dreams. Next week we'll finish this series, and then we'll begin the season of Lent. And today my original theme was dreams of nakedness. What did I hear? And then it got a little bit more interesting, and so we went with dreams of wilderness, though I'm not sure the first title wouldn't have sold more tickets. The story that we read of Jesus' temptation in the wilderness happens at the very beginning of his ministry in the Gospel of Matthew. He goes straight from the baptism where he has this vision of God, the heavens open up, and God says, "You're my beloved Son, whom I'm well pleased." And then he is off in the wilderness, and he is experiencing this temptation after 40 days in the wilderness, which is always a number that kind of denotes just kind of it's been a long time. And kind of mystery time. And it's almost as if, whenever you see that 40-day thing, it's almost as if the biblical authors are saying the same thing that happens when, you're watching a TV show and everything gets kind of wavy. We're going into a non-reality moment. And this whole experience of Jesus wrestling with the tempter reads like a dream. It reads like, I think, a number of dreams that I've heard in in the counseling room. People struggling with something about their nature, something about their own life and experience. So today we're going to talk a little about wrestling with your devil, wrestling with your tempter. And next week we'll be talking about wrestling with your angels as a way to finish this series. I don't know what your experience of dreaming is, but I do know that many people dream the dream of suddenly realizing that they're in a classroom or walking down a hallway at school or something, and that suddenly realizing they are naked. Anybody had that dream? Yeah. Statistics say that about 85-90% of people have this dream at some point in their life, right? Not a pleasant dream. This is not the fun dream that we talked about last week when we talked about dreams of flying, right? And there are a lot of ways to interpret a dream like that, you know? It kind of depends on the circumstances, as always. It kind of depends on where you were. My wife says she actually, for a number of years, had a dream where she showed up at school and it was naked day and she was the only one wearing clothes. Which says to me a lot about her. A lot. But for most people, the experience of having a dream where suddenly you're naked seems to have something to do with lots of kinds of fears of shame or embarrassment or feeling exposed about something in your life or fearing that exposure at some level in your life. And I believe that there's often, by wrestling with these dreams, listening to these dreams, sometimes moments of insight that can come for us. I also believe that they are often really about backed up feelings that are coming out in the dream. And as I said at the beginning of this series, what I often find in trying to do therapy with someone who's having a lot of dreams is it seems as if the dream itself was the therapy. It released some backed up feelings that were kind of stuck from the day or the week. And by having these images emerge, a biologically experienced emotion got released. But often still, there seems to be things to learn if we pay attention to the symbols and we ask the right questions. And what I find often in my life is that those moments when I find myself struggling with bad feelings, feelings like fear, feelings like shame or embarrassment, feelings like anger, there's almost always something there to learn about my own journey and about my own life. And it helps when I pay attention to what is the feeling in this dream, right? And so I apply that sometimes when I look at biblical stories like the one we're looking at today. And I ask the question, what's the feeling in this story? And it is kind of interesting. You know, if you think about the dream beginning with the baptism and the opening up of the sky and God's voice saying, "You are my beloved son," it's a kind of an invitation to get in the big head, isn't it? I mean, really. I mean, even if Tom, right, said to me, "You're my beloved son in whom I'm well pleased," that would be a nice thing. It'd feel good. But if God, the heavens parted, that's a real invitation to getting kind of a little narcissistic. And so, if you kind of start with that idea, then the whole story of the time in the wilderness becomes something that kind of has an interesting piece to it. It's an interesting struggle between, I have something special to give. I can be really important to the world. But the tempter comes and says, how much do you want that power? How much do you need that sense of being important to the world? Why do you want to be important to the world? What is it that drives your desire to make a difference in the world? We sang the song by David Wilcox, the Down Here song. I love there's some images in that song that really have to do with how the marginal voices, the parts on the edge of our consciousness kind of get pushed down into the cellar sometimes. But when we go down and we kind of commune with the totality of our nature, it's as if we find that there are these sisters and brothers, these parts of us that we can reintegrate, and we find that sense of wholeness. But it's less controlled. It's more embracing that which we are finding freedom and wholeness from. Everyone, I believe, kind of finds a path that they see as the right one, and they act it out the best they know how. But every one of us, at some point, silences other parts of us along the way. And these voices maybe continue to bubble around in our dreams sometimes, inviting us to think about that which we've left behind, or the path we could have taken, or the feelings that we deny in the journey that we're on. You know, it's not an unusual story. The minister, the politician, the great evangelist with thousands of followers, millions even perhaps, being raised up to the height of popularity and fame, to only come crashing down when revelations of their human struggles come to light. That's been a repeated story for us, even in the past year, of people in politics or in great heights of public adoration falling from grace. Steroid issues in baseball, the sex scandals of our politicians. It's clear that we live in a world now where it's kind of like a fishbowl, and it's pretty hard to live a life that isn't under the examination of somebody. It's a world that is rife with the opportunity for the taking down of heroes, probably more than any other time in history. And there's something that happens when we see those heroes fall. I think oftentimes there's a certain bit of delight for a lot of the public, certainly the media, in finding out the kind of secret about that person who's been lifted up so high. Because perhaps we all struggle with a sense of right intentions, right livelihood, as the Buddhists would call it. And we, I think, struggle in our own lives with, why am I doing what I'm doing? What are my intentions? Are they really the best intentions? Or is this really just for me, for my own glory, for my own, feeding my own ego? And to struggle with that is human. When we see others fall, sometimes becomes a place for us to vent our own inner conflicts. But what I want to suggest in this story with Jesus is that perhaps we can see the story of the tempter in that light. That, like many of us, Jesus is struggling with what it means to be a person with power. What does it mean to be a person who has the power to do something important? And out of what intentions do we do those things? Because each of us are people with power. Everyone in this room, like Jesus, I want to suggest, can, if you get quiet enough, hear a voice coming from the clouds saying, "You are my beloved child in whom I am well pleased." And as my beloved child, you have gifts to give. You have power to create and to make change. Think of all of the wherewithal you have in your life to do something. And yet what we, I think, sometimes experience is the question that I've heard a number of times lately from people: why do I do what I do? Even people who are going about doing the most healing, caring things sometimes come to a point in their life where they wrestle with, why do I do this stuff? Why am I continually trying to help? What is it that I am motivated by? Sometimes it's easy to be motivated out of a sense of insecurity toward needing power, needing control, needing to be important. And we all know that. We see it all the time. We feel it in ourselves sometimes, that insecurity pushing us to want to be the one in charge or be the rock star, be somebody who seems to be getting the adoration. As if somehow that adoration and appreciation could somehow finally fill some empty place inside of us, but it never can. Jesus rejects the tempter who would invite him to the darker side and the more limiting side of his nature. Because you see, the struggle for Jesus in that moment, just as the struggle for each of us in our own dreams, is not with some external deity. Even if you believe that the Satan is a real thing there on the mountain with Jesus, Jesus is not struggling with him. Jesus is struggling with himself. Jesus has to decide, just as we have to decide, where do I come from? Who do I come from? Do I come from a place? Do I find my intentions guided by this insecurity that would seek to have power just for power's sake? Or do I live out of something different? Is my home a mansion on the hill just for my own glory and power? Or is my home a mansion in which all creation lives, where the me is not possible without the we? Motivation that takes into account the sense of I am and you are and we are together, because what I do for you, I am only doing for me too. And everything that we do together goes past this illusion that somehow we are all in this for ourselves, because we aren't. The truth is, I can't have the dream I want to dream unless I share that dream and learn your dream. Everything that we are is connected. At the depths of our souls, perhaps. Motivation, how we are motivated and toward what? Where do you come from? And Jesus answered, you will serve the Lord your God and serve that God only. Another way to say that, I think, is when you're living out of that which is sacred and holy, it's connected to everyone else. Power, it looks different. It's never power over. It's power with. It's empowering. It's power found in connection. Amen.
We want you to join us in singing this old Donovan song. Some of you might remember this one. And I'm going to invite you all to stand and sing together. And it's our offering time as well. We'll sing during the chorus. It's our offering, though. So if you have an offering, bring it forward while we're singing. And if you know the verse, join in with us. We'll start off with the chorus so you can join along. Where your love like heaven, where your love like heaven, where your love like heaven. Lord, kiss me once more, fill me with song, la la. Kiss me once more, that I may, where your love like heaven, where your love like heaven, la. Color in fresh and blue, cannot believe what I see. All I have wished for will be all of our race proud and free. Where you love like heaven, where you love like heaven, where you love like heaven. Lord, kiss me once more, fill me with song, I love. Kiss me once more, that I may wear my love like heaven, wear my love like heaven. La 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 la.
Nothing like a little Donovan to end the story. Just a reminder about these cards, the the Joy of Generosity cards. These are the pledge cards that you can fill out. We've marked some of these 11-11 just to kind of, so we're always trying to send the message, yeah, we give too. Yeah, in here, not just big church. So there's some of, if you don't find one marked with 11-11 and you want to put it on there, feel free. I want to just draw your attention to a couple of things, but Lynn, I think, has an announcement first.
Yeah, a couple of quick announcements. One, of course, relates to what you were just talking about, sort of coming from a holy place. I don't know if y'all knew, but we have a communion service every Sunday at 10:30. So we'd finish in time if you wanted to come early and come to that. And we're going to be doing some new things with it. One of the things is having people like Doc C and maybe Lori, possibly Tom. Anyway, so some of our own folks from this service, and also some others where it's about sort of being present to God's presence in a kind of a simple, quiet way. But if anybody has any questions about that, I'll be back in the back. The other thing, real quickly, is in this room a week and a half from now on Ash Wednesday, the beginning of Lent, we're going to have this room also a kind of a contemplative sacred space with different places to pray. We're going to have a small labyrinth in the center here. Anyway, if you have any questions about that as well, it's a way of listening to the deep call.
Cool. And Jeff Seward is hosting a little benefit concert to raise money for the Costa Rican trip. And there's a flyer up here. Doxy Sultanova will be playing this little benefit concert at Jeff's house. And so if you want to come and make donations to help support the mission that's going down to Costa Rica. And there's also a habit tour. You want to say a word about that?
I would love to say a word about it. And this is not one of the quiet, gentle things. Our church vigorously supports Habitat for Humanity. And coming up on February 13th, if you didn't get an invitation, they're coming around. Each of you, this is your personal invite. If you work anywhere near downtown, it is a Wednesday, 12 noon, and I promise you'll be out before 1. You'll get back to work. Habitat has many, many exciting things that we pass it along one-to-one. This is not a fundraiser. There'll be a snack lunch, but the future holds so much. The finding of Habitat, and I don't have time for all of it, but they build enough homes in a neighborhood, and that neighborhood is transformed. And that leads to all the positive things we want, more kids in school, less crime, and I could go on and on. But please come if you can. We just love this congregation. Habitat needs you, and I think you'll walk away with just really some good news.
Great. And so you'll leave some of those flyers for folks. Yeah, you set them here on the altar. And they're at the Info Center. Okay. Great. One more quick word. The Roots of Change classes that start a week from Sunday, a week from today, actually. They begin a week from today. The Sunday afternoon class is full. The Sunday morning and the Tuesday still have a few spaces in it if you're interested in having that journey of discovering some of the stuff that we talk about with regard to motivation and where does my motivation come from, and a lot of it focused on a new understanding of the biology of emotion and how those basic emotional states we were all born with become scripted for us, and gaining some knowledge of that is incredibly powerful and freeing at everything, how we pray, how we love, how we teach, how we learn, all impacted by some of that knowledge. So I invite you to, if you haven't checked that out, Sunday morning and Tuesday, there's a sign-up sheet back in the back. Lovely Mary Ann will guide you to it back there in the back. Okay. So I have one more thing. The next slide, if someone is on the PowerPoint, is a slide that you're going to see a lot of in the coming weeks. I'm beginning today to announce to you that we will be doing an Easter festival on Easter morning in Burnett Park. This will be the first time we've tried something like this, but we will be setting up a stage, sound, children's activities, art, dance, all kinds of stuff out there in Burnett Park. And we have some special guests coming in, Sarah Hickman, Elizabeth Wills, Brad Thompson. Buddy Whittington's going to join us for that morning. We'll be out there from 10 in the morning until 2 in the afternoon, food trucks, all that kind of stuff. If you want to know what the jackalope on the poster is about and what it has to do with Easter, you have to show up to find out. Let's take each other's hands. We'll say a prayer. Holy One, as we wrestle with struggles in our own lives, with old intentions that sometimes die hard, wishes for escape or for power or control that are just not ours to have. Perhaps in those struggles we open ourselves to recognizing our humanity and to embracing the humanity of all those around us. That somehow in that we might find that sacred something. Amen.
Stay with us and sing. Rise with you. May the wind be ever at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face. May the rain fall softly on your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the hollow of your hand. Stick around if you want to shake your booty a little bit.
What's been messed up
He just like sticks down, yeah. Sorry.